Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Map Talk at 7. It is my honor to be your host tonight. And the first thing I'd like to do is to introduce our speaker. My name is Terence Ogle, and our speaker tonight is a very interesting gentleman. His name is Glen Leece-Jones. Glen hails from Pretoria. He's married to Sandy for 31 years. Has two children, aged 20 and 16. And he's a man of many talents, is Glen. He's freelancing as sales at Impact Radio. He's involved with prophetic and ministry and healing ministry at Swords Ablaze. And he does business and life coaching. He does counseling and mentoring. Glen has been involved with Map for Life since 2013 when he did his mastery program. He's passionate about impacting lives. And he tells me his mission statement is, I will make a positive impact in people's lives, challenging them to excel in every sphere of life. So I encourage you, the audience, to engage, to comment. Straight after Glen's talk, we'll have a panel. I'll introduce the panel to you at that time. So what I'd like to do now is to hand you over to Glen, and thank you, Glen, for engaging us in this excellent talk. The title of Glen's talk is Find Your Gift. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Terence, for that introduction. I really do appreciate it. It's certainly an honor for me to talk at one of these Map Talks, and I always get excited when it comes to Map for Life. It's something I'm really passionate about, and so tonight's talk, as Terence mentioned, is really about finding your gift. And I want to just mention something right at the start, and that is, I'm not talking about a gift that someone's given you that's packaged with wrapping paper and you've now gone and lost it and you want to look for it to find your gift. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about finding your gift that's inside you, okay? Finding your gift that's inside you. And I'm going to be chatting a little bit about that. So I'd like to start off with a statement. And the statement is simply this: you are not a mistake. Interesting, eh? In fact, I'm going to add another word to that, and I'm going to say this: you are not a biological mistake. You see, many people think that we came from this blob, this amoeba, that's a whole nother talk, and I'm not going to go into detail about that right now. I have very different views on that. But let me rather speak about the gift itself that's inside you, and that's what I want you to actually focus on tonight. And I'd like to start off as well with a quote that Glenn McQuirk often quotes. And it's simply this: you were born for a purpose that the world cannot do without. Now, when I say that statement, I like to enunciate it. And I know some of you are probably looking at me and going, what on earth are you talking about? What's enunciate? It's a good old English word that speaks about really being expressive about something. And so let me be expressive about that statement. You, yes, you watching, you were born for a purpose that the world cannot do without. So if you just take that statement tonight and meditate on that statement, really get the revelation behind that, then I'll be very happy. Then you don't have to worry about anything else. But let's take it a step further in your case, because we're talking about the gift inside you. So I'm saying that absolutely everything was created with a gift inside it already, okay? And I'm going to prove that to you just now in terms of an actual example. But let me talk about a gift. What is a gift? A gift has the inherent capacity to fulfill a function that meets a need, whether it's in society, in the world, or in creation. Okay? That's the gift. So everything was created with a gift inside of it. And so if you think about it, a thought, every time I think about something and I want to create it, it started with a thought. So it's already come from inside you. That's really the start of it. And I would take that thought, put pen to paper, and then I would actually create it and make it. But the gift was inside the product already because it came from your mind. Okay? And I'll go into further examples as we go along. So your gift must fulfill a need for someone or something. Okay? You got that? You did not come to earth for yourself. Surprise. You did not come to earth for yourself. The gift inside you is for someone else. And I know that's quite difficult to understand, because most people will think of your talent and your gift as saying, well, that's what I do, so it's a gift for me. But you don't quite understand it yet. And I'm going to go into more detail about that now. Okay. So what you are carrying is actually for someone else. Your goal is to find the gift and give it out. So yes, the challenge that we have, our society and the culture teaches us to go looking for it, to go looking outside for it. In other words, let's go on a pilgrimage. Let's go and have a sabbatical and go and find myself. And if you think about it, I mean, that sounds quite crazy. Find myself. But I'm right here. Why do I need to find myself? And in terms of the gifting and talent as well, it's the same situation. We are taught by society and taught by our education system to go and find it. And we will end up going to go and study something, be it doctor, lawyer, nurse, whatever it might be, and then we think that that's the gift. No, that's the title. That's the profession. It's not necessarily the gift. The gift, however, let's take a doctor as an example. The gift would be how the doctor reacts with his patients, how he actually takes the knowledge and information that he's learned and he applies it out to the people, and how he can give that information out. All right, that's the gift. That's how it actually works. So the gift is actually the source of value. Okay, you got that? Great. So the challenge is this, is that even if people go out and do succeed in terms of the so-called doctor, lawyer, dentist, whatever it might be, whatever the profession, they still struggle in terms of finding the gift. All right? And that's what we're about tonight. We're trying to get to that point where you can actually find that gift and give it out. All right. So let me give you an example quickly, because I think that'll really make it clear to you. And I'm going to take a simple example like a seed. It could be an apple seed, it could be an acorn seed, whatever it is, a seed. If I take a seed and I say, what is the gift inside the seed? Well, it's not a rocket science. It's a tree or a bush. Okay, that's the gift inside the seed. So what is the gift inside the tree? It's the leaves, which gives oxygen for us to breathe. The fruit on the tree gives us sustenance to eat. So there's a perfect example of how you see the gift is inside everything. But I'm asking you now, and I'm saying to you that the tree doesn't eat the fruit. Do you understand the point? Which brings me back to the doctor, the lawyer, etc. Okay? You are not using the gift for yourself. You are using it for someone else. You need to find your gift and give it out. If you do not do that, then believe it or not, you are a generational thief. Ouch. That's no one. Your gift is actually your obligation. You really need to find your gift and give it out. Okay. So I've spoken about a lot of things now, given examples, but you're still sitting there going, well, that's great, Glenn, that's wonderful, but how do I actually find it? How do I step in and actually find it? For me, I really believe that it's very simple, that we make it very difficult for ourselves. So let me ask this question. And the question is very simple. I say this. What gets you up in the morning, gets you really excited? You wake up on a Monday morning, yes, a Monday morning, and you are so excited. You're up at 4 o'clock already. You showered, you had breakfast, you're ready to rock and roll by 5 o'clock. I mean, you are so excited about it. Whether it's a hobby, whether it's going to camp, whether it's even a work situation, whatever it is, what is it that would excite you to that extent? And I can almost guarantee that within inside of you, that gift and talent will come out, and you will know exactly what it is. Then you say to me, but wait a minute, what happens if there's more than one gift? Wonderful. That's brilliant news. Then look for the most dominant gift and apply that in your life. And the other gifts will actually come along and support it. And that's a wonderful, amazing thing. All right. But I'd really like to take it a step further. And the late Dr. Miles Monroe spoke about 5 different questions, 5 questions. And those 5 questions are very simple. The very first one, who am I? Remember, it's not a profession, not I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. No. That's the profession, that's the title. I want you to really dig deep here, and I want you to really consider, who am I? And then the next question, number 2, where did I come from? Where did I come from? Third question, why am I here? Why am I here? All right. Fourth question, what can I do? That's part of the gifting, part of the talent, part of the ability, the potential inside you. And the fifth question is, where am I going? Where am I going? Now, here's the fascinating thing to me. I started looking at Map for Life and applying the principles of Map for Life. And if I take the 5-step methodology behind Map for Life, it fits in with those questions. So let me quickly explain. Map for Life methodology, 5 points, 5 steps. The first one, establish your position. Next, determine your destination. Third, prepare an action plan. Fourth, take meaningful action according to that action plan. It's where most people tend to find it difficult, because they can plan, but they battle to step into it. And the fifth one is record the results. So let's go back to those 5 questions quickly. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? Can you see where it fits in terms of establish your position? If you really establish your position where you are right now, you've got to actually look back and see where you've come from as well. So you establish the position, then you determine your destination. Where am I going? Do you understand? Okay. Prepare the action plan. That is literally, what can I do? And actually put in pen to paper. Remember the thought, placing the thought, putting pen to paper and taking it out and stepping into it. All right. It actually fascinates me how you can actually work through this process and actually find that gift through the process. And so I really want to encourage you. If anyone is out there listening to this message right now, I want you to get onto the website, www.mapforlife.com, and go and look under the heading coaches. And you can pick and choose a coach which you feel is going to be good for you. And we will help you and support you to actually find that gift. So I really want you to do that. So let me end off with this. I'm saying to you, don't rob us of your gift. Don't be a generational thief. And I'm going to end once again with that quote from Glenn McQuirk, because it's so pertinent. You were born for a purpose that the world cannot do without. Go for it. Find your gift. Thank you very much.
thank you very much for that very insightful talk. It's so true that for many of us, including myself at one stage, the thinking was that the gift or my gifts are out there and I needed to go and find them. But it's really been revealing the way you've put it out there so practically, in such a simple and practical way. And I certainly believe that the audience that's listening to this and who will listen to it in the future will really find something practical to get hold of and move forward as they fulfill their purpose in life. So it's my pleasure at this point to introduce my panel, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have a very interesting discussion around Glen's talk with the panel. I have a very esteemed panel. There's Amelia. Amelia will introduce herself just now. Heather from London, and Ngwati from the Eastern Cape somewhere, waiting for him to come on. Right, there we go. That's my panel. Good evening, panel, and thanks again for joining me on this discussion. I'd like to start off by just asking you to briefly introduce yourselves once again, and then we'll get going, diving into Glen's talk on finding your gift. Amelia, shall we start with you?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. Yes, my name is Amelia Sequeira, as you said, and I am from Centurion. I've been using this amazing tool since 2010, when two of my friends gave me the map for business at the time when I started my own business. I really loved this. It was an absolutely amazing experience to use it. And then I started sharing this tool with a lot of people, and absolutely love seeing the difference that it makes to people when they use the tool and actually get to all the goals, etc., that they set for themselves.
Excellent. Thank you, Amelia. Heather, brief introduction. Is Heather with us? Okay. Heather, Ngwati, can you go on? Heather seems to have a technical problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Terence. I am Gwadi Mzamo, residing in East London. But now, in actual fact, I'm joining you from Tata, which is 250 km from East London.
Right.
I'm here on a business trip. So I'm also the member of the Map for Life, and I'm trying each day to implement what I've learned from Map for Life. Thank you.
Excellent, Ngwati. Thank you very much. So just for those of you who didn't hear my introduction, I'm Terence Ogle. I'm also a Map for Life associate. I've been involved with Map for Life since 2013, and I can attest to what Glen has said and what the panel have said around what Map for Life has done in my life. So I'm going to open up with a very general question. Glen said Map for Life is a tool that can help us find our gifts. Okay, so I'm going to get a bit personal here, and I'm going to ask each of us to share what gift Map for Life has revealed in us. Okay, can I start with you, Ngwati? What do you believe your gift is, and that has been revealed through Map for Life?
Thank you very much. From my side, I would say that the gift Map for Life has given me, or has instilled in me,
okay,
is the gift of helping other people. The reason why I'm saying that, for instance, I'm just taking a situation in Mdantsane where we are ministering to the Child and Youth Center, where we've got children from the age of 3 to 18 years. So for me, I think Map for Life has helped me to instill from me, at least within me, that it's important for you not to look only to your family or to try and assist those who are around you, but to go take a step out and then move and help others who are outside your inner circle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ngoti. So your gifting is all about helping others, and what you've reinforced there is that it's bigger than just our family, our friends, and our immediate community. We need to go out there and impact the world. And I'll get to what Glenn mentioned about if we don't actually do what you are doing at the moment, and go out and share our gift. What we are likely to be labeled as. Amelia.
Terence, by using the Map for Life tool, I established that my purpose is to help people transform their bodies and live healthy, happy lives. I also focus then on, once they've attained those goals, to help them live happy, purposeful lives through the Map for Life tool.
Excellent, Amelia. So you've combined the health, the physical component, with living a more enriched and better life.
Yes.
Excellent. So if I can share what my gift is, my gift is also helping people in a very specific age group. I'm very attached to the younger generation, and as Ngwati said, also outside of my immediate circle. And I just find so much joy in actually assisting them to lead more meaningful lives and to make decisions that are based on who they really are. Glenn mentioned the first question, in fact, that Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe asked was, who am I? Okay, so we see from this then that and Glenn really stressed this, that our gift is not about ourselves, it's about others, right? However, having said that, in expressing our gift, we ourselves get enriched, right? We get enriched in feeling satisfied and feeling rewarded when we see others that are actually, living purposeful and significant lives. Another question: why is it that most of us, and I would include myself in this at some stage in our lives, believe that our gifts are out there and are achieved, like Glenn said, through education and doctorate and where we live, etc. Why do you think that is? If I can just throw that question out there, what influences us to believe that? And it's real, because many people still believe that. Amelia, I see you nodding your head. Can I start with you?
Yes, sure. Terence, I think we're brainwashed from a very early age, believing that we are actually a job, or we are something out there that we do, not something that comes from within us. A lot of people that I work with, for example, tend to think of their gift as well as something that must make amazing change. Not all of us has to be a Nelson Mandela to save a whole country. Some of us could maybe just be, the gift that we have inside of us is maybe just to help our own children or our own family members, etc. So I always tell people, don't always go and look far. Absolutely keep your search from within. See what are those things that you are passionate about. It's not out there, it is within you. It's a passion, it's a burning desire within you.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks, Amelia. And I'm pleased you mentioned that it doesn't have to be written in lights, to use a different phrase, and yeah, it's natural, I think, that we look up to people like Nelson for what he's done. He used his gifts extremely well, and he succeeded in what he was doing. But you're absolutely right that we just need to look around and see around us where the opportunity is to actually exercise our gifts. And we can do that on a daily basis. And Ngwati, have you any thoughts on why it is that we always look outside of ourselves for our gifts?
Terence, I don't know. I think maybe I'm struggling. I think in this town where I am, I'm struggling to hear. But I think both of you are very soft. That's why I'm trying to listen attentively.
Okay.
Otherwise, you are very soft from your side. Can you just repeat what I've said, please?
Okay, I said it's in most cases. Okay, most people, including myself, at one stage, looked for my gifts outside of myself. So I looked to such things like career. I looked to such things as academics to actually find what my gift was. It was only much later in life, and with a process like Map for Life, that I realized, as Glenn said, that my gift is actually inside of me, and I need to just discover it and then step out in faith in actually applying and using it. Okay, so the question is really, why is it that most people look outside of themselves for their gifts, to discover their gifts?
No, thank you very much, Terence. What I would say is that I suppose that I think the reason why we always like to look outside ourselves, first of all, maybe it's our upbringing or the way we were trained, for instance, from schools from the early age until we went through the high school education system. Like, for instance, you find that I think the type, let's say, I'm just looking at the type of education I was having, boundary education. In actual fact, it was not giving you a chance so that you can be confident of yourself that in actual fact can do this. You always aspire to be somebody else or to think that outside you is always better than inside you. I think the gift you're having. I think for me, it's the upbringing, the way we grew up. And for instance, in my case, for instance, even today when I was training the counselors, I was talking about, I think, boundary education. I said that out of that, but I decided to get what is best for me out of that boundary education instead of just condemning it as a whole. What I'm trying to say that our training and upbringing, we were not trained to be confident about ourselves. We always think, for instance, West is better than what is happening in front of us. When I'm referring to West, for instance, I'm just thinking of anything which is coming from America. We always try to jump at it and all that. Whereas we are still having the same skill or the same gift they're having. Thank you.
Thank you, Ngwati. And it links up with what Amelia said around being brainwashed, really, because that's exactly what happens to us, as children and as we grow up in different circumstances. We are made to believe certain things, and we need to change it. I came across a very interesting saying the other day, is that as children, we are not responsible for the way we think. As adults, we are 100% responsible for the way we think. And it might sound fairly obvious, but it links up with this whole discussion we're having around being brainwashed. There comes a point, and with talks such as this, for me, I believe that's a trigger to say I need to start thinking differently, and answer the questions that, for example, Dr. Miles Monroe asked, that Glenn put forward to us. Heather, welcome back. Can I just backtrack with a question for you? What is your gift? Just in a few simple words, what is your gift?
It's very difficult to answer in a few simple words, Terence, because
Okay.
I like to consider myself very, very blessed. I think I have multiple gifts, but what really resonated with me from Glenn's talk was, find the one that's more dominant.
Yes.
Give that to others, and the others will follow.
Right. Okay. So when you say blessed, if I added to that, you are blessed to be a blessing, would I be sort of on track in getting closer to what your gifting is?
Here's a question for you in return.
Sure.
So we have talents, which we consider to be gifts, which other people accept from you as a gift. Maybe it's playing the piano, playing the violin, maybe it's talking, telling a story, maybe it's acting as a negotiator, and you do all these things and other people accept them as a gift from you. But the question is that what you are here to do? Is that your gift? Is that the purpose of your life? Is that the one that God wants you to take forward?
Yeah, interesting question. And I would say my immediate answer would not necessarily. It could well be a means to an end, right? So, for example, playing music could well be a means to healing others, to lifting others' spirits. Okay, and that's my simple explanation, if I can put it that way. But thanks for the question. It'll be wonderful to hear what the audience says out there around the difference between talents and gifts. And by the way, the Bible talks a lot about talents and gifts, and treats them fairly differently, I think, my interpretation. So, yeah, Amelia, have you got any thoughts on the difference between talents and gifts?
Yeah, I was trying to think about that now because I haven't thought about it before. But I'm reminded of this book that I read. The book's name is The Gift, and it was written by a South African Gavin Sharples. And he wrote this book about these souls that were having a discussion in heaven before they came to earth. And some of the souls actually made an agreement, for example, where one soul would agree to meet another soul on earth to teach them what love is all about or what forgiveness is all about. So, I often make as if our gifts is this big thing to change a lot of lives. Some of us come to earth with a gift to change one person's life. Some people can have a talent with the purpose of changing many lives. Take a Nelson Mandela. He had an amazing, massive, big purpose. Another human being can have a small purpose, just showing one person what real love is all about, or real caring, or just helping another person in a big way. I think it's different for different souls.
Right. So in a sense, what you're saying is that our gifting is largely unique, and it's unique because we are unique. If we go back to identity, and Glenn alluded to this as well, is that if we are unique, then our gifting must be unique as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to another topic that Glenn mentioned, and he used the analogy of the seed. It's a lovely analogy, and you're all familiar with Map for Life. It's often mentioned in Map for Life as the seed example. And he mentioned the tree, and the fruit. And he said that the fruit or the tree does not eat the fruit. I think the stressing that whatever our gifts are, they're not meant for us, they're meant for others. And I think it was a wonderful analogy. I just want to, does anybody want to add to that analogy of the tree and the fruit? I see there's a comment by Primrose, which just re-emphasizes that whole analogy. She says the tree does not eat the fruit. You are in this world as a gift to others. And she ends it by wash hands. There's a lot of sayings about washing each other's hands, right? And helping each other. So gifting is very much in that line. Thank you very much for that, Primrose. Does anybody have any analogy, any thoughts around the analogy of a tree, the fruit being an analogy for how our gifts are actually structured? I think, Glenn put it very clearly, and it's very straightforward enough. So let me move on then to the 5 questions, Dr. Munro's 5 questions. Who am I? Okay. It's not an easy question to answer. I believe we've got to dig deep to actually get to that question, because generally when we ask that question, who am I, we get the response, well, I'm a doctor and I'm from London, and I practice at this surgery or this hospital. That's what we get, but clearly it's not around that. It's around who are we really, and I think that's a topic for another discussion. The second one was, where did I come from? Okay. And if I'm going to ask the panel, how do you answer that question? Where do I come from? Heather, can I start with you?
Well, if you're a Christian, then the Bible is pretty clear as to where we came from, because God knew us before we were even formed.
Okay.
But if you are not a Christian, it starts becoming a bit difficult to try and analyze where did you actually come from.
Right.
So it just depends on your position in life, really.
And your belief structure, right?
Yes.
So most people, and Ngwati mentioned being involved with the youth, Ngwati. When you ask a teenager of 13, where did you come from? What are they likely to answer? Sorry, did you hear me clearly then?
Yes.
Okay.
When I'm asking the teenager, this is what we are saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I also agree with that. It depends, in actual fact, in what you believe in. For instance,
okay.
when you started to ask that question, for instance, where do you come from? I think in my mind, maybe because of my Christian beliefs, I had Psalm 139. Psalm 139 explains exactly what is happening, that you started to be A, B, C, D, and all your days were written from the beginning to the end. So that's another way, for instance, somebody can, that's why I'm saying that it depends, I think, on your beliefs. So my belief in that question, I would go exactly to Psalm 139 in the Bible, because it's indicating how wonderful as a human being am I, and where do you come from, and who created you, and all that.
Excellent.
That's how, for instance, I think I train the youngsters. Right now, I know people, they know that they've got a mother and a father, but at least to go deeper than that, at least if I take them to Psalm 139, they will be having more interest than that. Before they were here already, I think the way they have been crafted or created,
Right.
they are a wonderful creature. Thank you.
Excellent, Gwati. That also reinforces the whole idea of when we were created with the gifts. It just reinforces what Len said, that our gifts are actually inside of us. We just need to discover them and then pursue them. They're not out there because we're actually born with them. Okay, next question. Why am I here? This is an interesting one as well, because you know, typically would get different answers. Why am I here? You know, before I got the realization of who I am, because that's really where I start. Why am I here? Well, it's to become the best IT manager that I possibly could become. You know, when I think about it now, I think, well, you know, that was very selfish of me, because it was all about me. And as Glenn said, you know, gifting is not about us. But as you know, as I saw the light, I realized that that's not why I'm here. I'm here to fulfill. In fact, it leads directly into Glenn's quote, Glenn McQuirk's quote. Why am I here? I'm here to fulfill a purpose that the world cannot do without. It really just fits in quite nicely there. And then the fourth one is, what can I do? And the fifth one is, where am I going? Okay, and I think generally, as Heather and Gwate have so eloquently put, the answers to those questions depends really on your belief system and who and what you believe in. And as Christians, you know, it's pretty easy to answer all those 5 questions. But if you don't have a belief system that addresses those 5 questions, it's not that easy.
Perhaps,
Okay.
Terence, those last 3
sure.
questions, rather than waiting and looking at them overall as your life in general, when you say, why am I here? Perhaps you can break it down further. Why am I here right now in this place? What can I do right now? You know, where am I going today that's going to get me to my final destination? Because it's very difficult for somebody perhaps listening in to look at their life as a whole. Maybe you can just look at today and now and your position right now to determine where you can go.
Very good, Heather. Because I mean, ultimately, if you look at it too broadly, you enter into the realms of eternity, and that can be frightening. That can be disheartening. It can make one fearful. So, absolute great idea to look at one's life right now and ask those questions. Thank you for that contribution. Excellent. Okay, I want to end off with what Glenn mentioned about, if we don't exercise our gifts and in so doing uplift others, what we will be called. What did he say would be called? Amelia, just remind us.
Thieves. We'll be robbing.
Robbing, eh?
Yeah.
Generational thieves, he called us.
That's it, yes, generational thieves.
Yeah. And it's not a pleasant term to be called a generational thief. You know, to be called a thief is bad enough, but to add to it generational, meaning your impact in having done what you, or having not done what you should have done, is generational. I mean, that is really scary.
It's massive.
But it's true, though, that yes, Ngwate. Yes.
May I come in? I think especially in this last part of because the way I think when I was listening to Glenn's presentation, for starting with the tree doesn't eat its own fruit. Apparently, what is he trying to to promote is that let's not be selfish. Because whatever gifts and talents we're having, let's share with the others. I think that's how I think I see it. Because if now we're not going to be able to share with others what we're having, we'll end up being, perhaps if we were not thieves, will be accused of being hoarding the gift we're having. Like, for instance, let's take, for instance, the knowledge. Knowledge is power, but what I believe in, I always add that shared knowledge is power. Because some other people, they want to keep their knowledge so that they can try and control us. But for instance, when I was training, I think the counselors today, I was saying that be prepared to share the knowledge. Like, for instance, we're training you now. Share that. The moment you share it, it's the more we are going to have more experience and become more eloquent on what you have been trained on. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thanks for that, Ngwati. And Greg, going back to the tree analogy, if for whatever reason a tree doesn't make its fruit available to, for example, the birds, what happens to that fruit? It actually just falls off and rots. Okay. So hoarding, in that sense, if I can continue on that analogy, just results in rotten fruit, which is useless to everybody except, again, the next generation, because there's seeds in that fruit that will then grow and form other trees. Okay, but in that process, nobody would have really have benefited from the fruit of that particular tree. And we can consider ourselves as humans, each of us as a tree, with community and the world at large being the global forest. I love that analogy of the trees. So just to conclude, Glenn also mentioned the fact that the gift is a source of value. Okay, that's one way that we can actually identify our gifts. It's a source of value. If anything that we're doing is not adding value, it's then detracting, and we need to reconsider whether that is our gifting or not. Okay, I just want to add one more quote from the comment from the audience. It's Vengai. Mujuru says, when the tree eats the fruit, it stops the further growth of the seeds that can be taken by others and does not spread it. It will fail to nourish the world as well. So that's very much in line with what we've just discussed, that, if the tree doesn't share its fruit, it hoards, etc. So thank you for that comment, Vengai. Thank you very much. And then lastly, I think just to close off what Glenn said, is that a tool that we can use, that he in fact used, and many of us have used, to actually get to understand what our gifting is the Map for Life tool, which with the five steps in the methodology. Okay, so I would encourage, as I'm sure you would, the panel, encourage others out there, if they're battling with this whole issue of what are my gifts, what am I gifted for, if they're battling with the 5 questions that Dr. Monroe put forward. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? What can I do? Where am I going? If they're battling with those questions, then Map for Life is a tool that has been proven that it can help in answering those questions and assisting people to live in that purpose that the world cannot do without. So panel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, audience, for all your comments. I didn't have time to read more of them, but thank you very much. They are there and they are recorded. So thank you, panel. Have a good evening, and thanks once again to Glenn for a wonderful talk on finding your gift.